Hello everyone, this is Medical Gateway and today we're going to start a new chapter which is blood types, transfusion, tissue and organ transplantation. This is chapter number 36 of Guyton. So we're going to start this chapter. So in the first part we're going to study regarding the antigens present on the red blood cells. So red blood cells have many antigens present on their surface. So there are hundreds of different types of antigens present on the surface of red blood cells. Out of these hundreds of types of antigens, 30 different types of antigens are commonly present on the surface of red blood cells. So there are hundreds of types of antigens. Commonly occurring are only 30 different types of antigens. But the interesting part is, out of these hundreds and especially out of these 30 different types of antigens, there are only two types of antigens which have the ability to give a strong antigenic response. So we are studying the antigens present on the red blood cells. What is the significance of the antigen present on the red blood cell? The main significance is that these antigens, when exposed to a different blood group, have the ability to produce antibodies. Okay? So why basically are we studying the antigens present on red blood cells? So this whole thing has the clinical significance only at one point, or predominantly at one point, when any person needs a blood transfusion or someone is going to donate blood to another person. Now, that's why we study these antigens present on the RBCs. And we have to know what is the blood group of a person. As you already know, that the blood can be A, B, or O, or AB. Or sometimes you say that A positive or B positive or B negative. So what is this A, B, and O, and what is this positive and negative? And which person can transfuse the blood to the other, or which can donate or receive the blood to the others? Okay, this is what we're going to study in this chapter. So out of hundreds of the antigens, 30 antigens are commonly present, and two types of the antigens are those which can give a strong antigenic response. Strong antigenic response means that when these antigens enter some other body, the other person does the other body reacts and produces strongly antibodies against those antigens. Okay, so the main thing is this strong antigenic response. So the two types of antigens have the strong antigenic response. So what are these two types of antigens? These two types of antigens give rise to two blood group systems. One is ABO blood group system and the other one is RH blood group system. So in the ABO blood group system, we have blood groups A, B, AB, and O. And whereas the RH blood group system, we have blood groups RH positive and RH negative. Okay, so these are the two different types of the antigens which have strong antigenic response and are present on our blood cells, on our red blood cells. Okay, so if a person has antigen A on his blood or red blood cell, then the blood group of the person is A. And if the person has only antigen B present on the red blood cells, then the blood group is B. And if antigen A and antigen B both are present on the red blood cells, then the blood group is AB. And if no antigen is present on the red blood cell, then the blood group is O. Okay? These blood groups A, B, AB, and O are defined by the presence or the absence of the different types of the antigens. So if the red blood cell has only blood antigen A on its surface, then the person is said to have blood group A, if the red blood cell has only antigen B on its surface, then the person is said to have blood group B. And if both the antigens are present on the red blood cell, then the blood group is AB. And if no antigen is present on red blood cell, then the blood group is O. Okay, then what is this? For instance, the person is having blood group B, and we say he's having blood group B positive or B negative. So the positive and negative comes from this RH blood group system. Okay, so if D antigen is present, D antigen we'll discuss in detail in the next part. If D antigen is present, then the person is said to have RH positive blood group or just positive. Or if the D antigen is absent, then the person is said to have RH negative blood group. Okay. So now if a person is having an antigen A on its surface as well as antigen D on its surface, then its blood group is A positive. And if the same person, if a person has antigen A on its surface but does not have antigen D on its surface, then the person is said to having the blood group A negative. Okay. So these were ABO and RH blood group systems. Now coming to this ABO blood group system, now which genes control this A, B, and O antigens? So the ABO gene basically has 3 different types of alleles, and the presence or absence of these alleles will define that what is the blood group of the person or which antigens will be present on the red blood cells. So ABO gene has 3 different types of alleles. One is this allele, which is written as I with the small a on it. Then we have I with the small b on it. Then we have I with the small o on it. These are the alleles of ABO genes. Okay. Now, as you know that alleles occur in pairs. Okay. So now if a person has both this IA alleles, then the person is said to have blood group, this genotypic representation AA. And if the person has both alleles, this IB, then the genotype will be BB. And if the person has both alleles of this type, IO, then the genotype is OO. And definitely, if the genotype of the person is AA, it means the blood group of the person will be A. The antigen present on the red blood cell will be A. And if the person has both the alleles of IB, then the genotype is BB, and the antigen present on the red blood cell surface is B. And if the person has both the alleles IO and the genotype is OO, it means that there will not be any antigen present on the surface of the blood cells. Now, interesting is this, that this IA and IB, they are the dominant alleles, whereas this IO is the recessive allele. IA and IB are the dominant alleles, whereas IO is a recessive allele. Now, if one allele is IA and the second allele is IO, then the genotype will be AO. If one allele is IA and the other allele is IO, then the genotype will be AO. And the blood group will be A. As IA is a dominant allele and IO is a recessive one, IA will dominant and the phenotypic representation will be in the form of A blood group in the form of A antigen. So one allele is IA, one other allele is IO, the genotype is AO. So this genotype will give a phenotypic representation of A phenotypic representation of A antigen present on the surface of red blood cells. So the blood group of the person will be blood group A. Now, if the person has one allele IB and the other allele IO. Now, if the person has one allele IB and the other allele is IO, then the genotypic representation will be B and O. Now, as the B is dominant and as the O is recessive, now this genotype will give a phenotypic representation of antigen B only present on the surface of red blood cells. So the blood group of the person will be blood group B. Now, a very interesting phenomena, if a person has one allele in the form of IA and the other allele in the form of IB, one allele is IA and the other allele is IB, then the genotypic representation of will be AB. AB. Now, in this case, what will be the phenotype? Who is going to dominate among this A and B genes? So in this case, as both are dominant, it is known as codominance. Now, the RBC will have both the antigen A and antigen B on its surface, and the blood group will be known as blood group AB. If a person has IA and IB both alleles, the genotype is AB, and as it is a codominant case, then the RBC will have both the antigen A and antigen B on its surface. Resulting blood group is known as blood group AB in this case. So there are four types of blood groups: blood group A, B, AB, and O. So blood group A, let's talk about blood group A. Blood group A can occur when there is genotype of AA or a genotype of AO. Blood group B can occur, this blood group B can occur when there is a genotype of BB or BO. Blood group O can only occur if there is a genotype of OO. And blood group A can occur only when the genotype is AB, the codominant case. Okay, so that's how these three different types of alleles, two acting as dominant and one acting as recessive, will give rise to four different types of blood groups: blood group A, blood group B, blood group AB, and blood group O. And then there are D antigen present or D antigen absent, giving rise to the positive and the negative. For instance, if the person is having both the antigen A and B on its surface, the blood group is AB. Along with that, the person is also having D antigen on its surface, then the blood group will be AB positive. Okay? So this is a basic introduction of ABO blood grouping system and RH blood grouping system. In the next two parts, I will teach you independently, and we'll discuss independently the ABO blood group system and the RH blood group system in a little bit more detail. Okay? See you in next part.